I'd like to welcome everybody to How to Rank Higher on Google for Dentists Near Me. Where are we? Okay, so here's our agenda. So the way that this is going to be structured is this is a series on SEO just because SEO has so much information and it's all very technical. So the way that we decided to break this down is in 2 lectures, right? I'll give you an overview of what SEO or search engine optimization is, and then I'm going to be focusing on the 2 components, on the first of the 2 components in this lecture, and then there will be a follow-up lecture to this, a series, where I will be speaking to the second part of it. So I'm going to go ahead and just dive into it. It'll make a lot more sense as I go along. So let's talk about why SEO is important. Well, just to give you a few stats, there are 500 plus websites created each minute on the internet, and over 75% of clicks are from organic listings. Those are search results in Google that you do not see, or I'm sorry, that you do not pay for. And 85% of searchers will not go back with the first beyond the first page of results, so it's important to appear on the first page. So let's go a little bit more into what SEO is. It's the process of maximizing the number of visitors to a particular website by ensuring that the website appears on high in the list of free results returned by a search engine. Free as in no one paid to be there. That does include what's called the snack pack, so that maps listings that you see. Let me just get my little laser pointer. This little maps that you see for a lot of local businesses. So if you are looking for really any type of local business, Google understands that and it will show you the geographical location of that business to that searcher so they can figure out how close they are, right? So when we're looking for restaurants, it does this. Same thing for dentists. Anybody that's looking to be a new patient, it will show them proximity to the closest dental office. Below that, we will have our organic results. So this is what Google has shown for the last few, decade or so. So it's what we call organic. It's the blue text with green, and then underneath it some gray text. It gives a little bit of preview on the page. Okay, so let's talk about what on-site SEO is. So the 2 components that I was talking about and why this is broken down this way is SEO is made up of 2 parts. On-site optimization, which are things that you do on your actual website in order to improve your rankings, and off-site optimization, which is what you do to influence websites connected to your own dental website, but not your dental website itself. So that would include things like Yelp or Facebook or any sort of business listings like Yellow Pages, what it's called YP, or all of his listings, Google Maps as well. That's technically a site that links to yours, so you would be doing some things on that one as well. So for the purposes of this lecture, though, I'm really only going to be speaking to things that you do on your particular website. So if you want to find out more about offsite, then just ensure to join our next lecture. Okay. So the purpose of on-site optimization is to include content or copy within your site that Google thinks is relevant to the search terms that people are using to find your services, right? So there are 2 places where search engine crawlers, so those are the little bots that go and crawl through your site and understand what it's about. It's artificial intelligence, basically. And so there are 2 places. It's going to look on the actual content of your web pages, so what you see, when you look at a website, and the metadata that's coded into your website. And that's copy that's coded within your website that appears in different places other than just the web page. I'll go into that and explain a little bit more. Okay, so when it comes to SEO, content is still king. So what you want to do is include relevant keywords and phrases in your content that people are using in order so that Google can make the connection and take that page and show it in search results, right? So this is when you start hearing about keyword research and volume and all this. This is where that is relevant, because basically what you want to do is research the keywords that people are using in order to find you. Dentist near me is a keyword that you could you're not going to necessarily target it specifically, but Google will start showing you if your SEO has been, or if your website has been optimized well for search engines. Because how that works is if you are optimizing your website for, let's say, dentist in Los Angeles or a dentist in, let's give you a smaller neighborhood in Los Feliz, then anyone who's in Los Feliz, Google will understand that dentist in Los Feliz relative to that person can be the search term dentist near me, and it'll just automatically make that connection, right? So it's smart enough to understand search phrases that are related to each other and take into consideration where and how the searcher is searching. So that takes me back to content. You're going to want to use words that normal people are going to be using with natural language. So, that means like teeth whitening near me, or some sort of language that your patients would use in order to find the website that or your actual dental website. You don't have to have every variation of a keyword in your content anymore. Google is smart enough to understand semantics and small variations in how people speak. So as long as you have very similar keywords on one page, then you're most likely going to be covering a lot of different variations, because Google will take care of that for you. Okay, so next I want to talk about metadata. So metadata is actual copy on your website, but that copy is actually pulled into search results. So one of the types of meta tags that are on there are called page titles. Page titles are going to be like just phrases that appear in the blue text. You can actually write out what the blue text will say in search engine results. So what you want to do is you'll want to include relevant keywords, because what happens is, one, they'll help for ranking, and two, they'll actually bold. So I'm sure you'll notice is if you're searching for something, the words that you use to search, your search phrase, will actually be bolded within search results. And that's just to catch your eye so that you know that that page is somehow relevant to your search, right? That's how Google presents it to you, which is why you'll want to include the top keywords in these page titles, and then also in your meta description, which I'll go into in a little bit. You want to use about 5 to 10 words. Typically, one way that you could formulate it is include the service, the location, so whatever city, or if you're in a large metropolitan area, maybe the neighborhood where you're located. And then you'll also want to include the state that you're in. And then you'll want to make sure that, think of this as like the title to a book, right? So, or the title to a chapter. You'll want to include a keyword that is still very much relevant to the rest of the copy of your page, right? So if a particular page is about teeth whitening, then that's what you want to insert into the page title, because that would be quote unquote the title of the chapter. Okay, so the next part is the meta description. So the meta description works very similar to a page title. A page title does help with rankings, a meta description does not. But a meta description is like a text preview of what the searcher can expect on that web page. So you want to include keywords in that copy as well, because that's really what tells the searcher, hey, you want to click on to this page to find more about whatever question or information you're looking for. And you can see here in my examples that, the keyword here, like dental, dentistry, Salt Lake Dental, those are all bolded because that was included in the search phrase. So in this case, same thing, you'll want to include relevant keywords. This one is a maximum of 300 characters. So if you want to, typically how you would approach this from just like a tactful perspective is you would write this out on like a Word document, spell check, do all of that, and then you can actually highlight, and then it will tell you how many characters are in that phrase. If you go to review on the Word document, I'm talking about Microsoft Word. I don't know how what the equivalent is on a Mac, but then you can highlight and then just it'll count the characters for you with spaces, and if you as long as you keep it to a max of 300 characters, you should be okay. And then again, you'll want to use the same keywords. You want to be completely relevant to the content on the page. Okay. And just to show you guys what it actually looks like, this is that gray text. If you look in the actual code of the page, this is where it shows meta name description, content equals, and then that entire phrase is coded in the text. But if you were to look into the actual page, it's not on the actual page copy. It's actually within the code of the page. Okay, so that's a lot of information, and it actually does take a lot of time and effort to do on-site optimization. So some important things to remember about SEO is, some common questions is rankings do take a couple of months to improve if you've made the right moves, of course. So the early stages of SEO are kind of difficult because you're investing. It's it's difficult in the sense that you're investing a lot of effort, but it takes a little bit of time for it to catch up. Think of it as like if you're planting a tree, right? You have to nurture it, you have to water it, you have to make sure it gets the right nutrients, the right amount of sunlight as a sapling so that it grows, but it's not going to grow into a big tree overnight, right? It's going to take some time. So even if you move from position 89 to position 11, you're still not within that threshold to get some results. You have to keep nurturing, you have to keep working in order to get it on in the best placement on search engine results to get the results that you're looking for. The other thing to remember is that SEO does not happen in a vacuum, right? There are a lot of variables that come into play. One could be where you start your rankings. A lot of people could start, hopefully this isn't you, but some people start on page 4 versus some people start on page 2. Obviously on page 2, it's going to be a little bit easier to get on page 1 rather than starting on page 4. But then again, you want to get to the top of page 1, and that's the farther up you're trying to move on the first page, the harder it is, because those are really the positions that you're competing for. The other thing too is any competition in your market is going to play into it. So if you have a competitor that is seemingly not doing anything different, there are a lot of other factors on offsite that could influence why their rankings are doing well. There are a lot of technical issues that could be occurring on someone's site versus another that's not going to be obvious just by looking at their website and search engine results. So like I said, there are a lot of factors that come into this. And then ultimately, what you should be looking at in terms of success is whether the quality and quantity of traffic to your site are improving over time. So it's very important to keep track of where you are starting. You can do that by taking a snapshot of metrics that are important to SEO. Those would be things like impressions, average position, click-through rate, something that's called organic traffic. If you have Google Analytics, there is a channel for organic traffic. That's a metric that you want to keep track of. And then you can also structure your Google Analytics to keep track of conversions. So conversions would be anytime somebody contacts you directly through the website, you could consider that a conversion, which means that those are potential patients that you are bringing in through your website. SEO does take some time to see some movement. I think the earliest I've ever seen any type of positive movement is like 3 months. That's a pretty quick turnaround. So just to give you an idea, 3 months is a pretty positive result. So just so you guys can understand what just how much effort it takes. So just to wrap this up, so you guys know, SEO works gradually to elevate your position in search results. So people tend to trust it because when Google ranks the site well, then it lends credibility to the company, your practice, and its offering. It enables you to reach users without having to pay for advertising. So that's one of the positive side of things. SEO does have 2 parts. I did cover OnSite, which is mostly focused on content and keyword research. So that's something that we do have resources for you if you want to dive a little deeper into what each of those things are. I just didn't want to overwhelm you with a lot of information. And so the next part is going to be the offsite optimization, which focuses on activities that increase trustworthiness and authority through your site by influencing the sites that are connected to your own dental website. And on-site optimization basically just means adding keywords and making your copy readable and digestible to users so that they understand what the copy is, and so that crawlers also understand the copy and the theme of your website. Okay, as always, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out. The number is on the screen. You can also reach out via the website. We do have chat, or if you want to reach out through email, whichever your preferred method is. If you want to learn more about SEO and even other dental marketing channels like pay-per-click, social media, or just how to improve your dental website in general, we do have resources there. And then if you want to check out our blog, those are just some quick ways that you could check out some tips and tricks on how to improve your dental marketing. So right now I'm going to go through some of the questions. I think there have been a couple that went through. Okay, so Dr. Braun asked, can I do on-site optimizations myself? Yes, you can. So actually, I think the best place to start is let me get you started on some educational places or just some resources that we actually have for you guys to learn about how to get a plan started. So if you go to ProSites, and if you go to white papers, we have a lot of resources. So if you guys haven't checked this tab out, I highly encourage you to do so. There's a blog that just gives you a snippet on different topics if you want to learn more about specific topics. Infographics is more of a visual guide. But Dr. Braun, I'm actually going to give you our white paper that uh, teaches you more about local SEO, local search and how it's affecting our practice. Here we go. Because that will actually show you how to start start keyword research, what to take into consideration in terms of like volume and things like that, and then also how to put a plan together and ultimately optimize content using the keyword research that you have conducted. So I'm going to send that to you right now. And then if anyone else wants this guide, just chat in the questions panel, just raise your hand or something, and then I can send it to you as well. Okay, I see you, Angela. Natalie, I got you. Oops, nope, I don't got you. Okay, I will, you guys, a lot of you guys would like the guide, so I'm actually just gonna hang on after the presentation and send it all to you guys, but just keep letting me know which of you would like the guide and I will get to you after I'm done answering the questions. Okay, so I think I had one more that came through. Okay, so there's a question on here. It says, how do you implement Google Analytics onto your ProSite site? So if you're with us, if you're a member already, it's very likely that you already have Google Analytics running on your website and you just have to ask for permission. So to your Google Analytics. So I would reach out to just member services and see if they can just add permission. You will need a Gmail address or some sort of email address that is connected to a Google account, and then they can just arrange to add it on there. And if you don't already have it on there, then they can walk you through the process because member services should be able to add it on as well. You'll really just need to create an account that has access to some sort of Google Analytics, take the script that Google provides, which is just like a block of code, give it to your member services representative, and they will put it on your website. Okay? Um, okay. Angela had a great question. Is on-site SEO something that needs to be updated continuously? If so, how often? So generally with on-site, my experience has been that most intense part of it is actually really only going to be in the beginning of a campaign that you are starting, because that's going to require a lot of keyword research, evaluating which keywords are relevant to you, which ones you want to target, creating the copy, writing it, checking it, uploading it to your website, right? So that's usually a process. I mean, if you're doing it yourself, it could be a pretty lengthy process, but in terms of our teams, because we have a little bit more experience, that should take about 1 to 3 months, depending on your package. So, um, but once you've pretty much laid the foundation, that's pretty much the foundation, then you really only have to kind of tweak it after that, because, rankings will change, algorithm updates will come out where search intent changes. So that means that it kind of shifts your rankings a little bit. And so you have to go back and do a little bit of research and maybe add a little bit more copy. But in my experience, you typically, for your core keywords that bring in a lot of potential patients, you'll lay the foundation more at the beginning, and then you can start going after, like, I call them secondary keywords. So these are your more like specific keywords that not a lot of people search for, but they can bring in a lot of initial traffic. So I'll give you an example. Like, say somebody is comparing composite to amalgam fillings, right? And they just want to know what the difference is. Um, you may want to write a blog post about what the difference is aesthetically, chemically, whatever your opinion is, if you want to. But that is typically something that's not necessarily going to bring in a patient initially, but research that people are doing online, and that could potentially turn into a patient down the road. So, yeah, no, to answer your question, the bulk of the work is going to be mostly at the beginning. And you kind of just have to watch your rankings to dictate the cadence of how often you're improving the content on your site. Let's see, we do have a question on whether you will be receiving this recording. Yes, you will. You should be getting the slide deck and the recording within a couple of business days. So you should be covered there. Let me go ahead and pull this up if you guys have any questions. If you have any questions about your site in particular, there's a couple of things you could do. If you just want to have an understanding of where your site is in general, we do have a section here. If you go to the website report card, that tells you the technical health of your website, which is also among other things for your site. So I would encourage you to just take this report card and just check it out, see how your website is, and then have that and just bring it to your account advisor, your internet market advisor, depending on whether you're a member or not, and just kind of talk through it to see if there's any improvements you can make. If you feel like you're in a good place, then I would definitely just check out this dental SEO guide that I'll be sending to you. So again, if you want it, just comment and I will send it over to you directly. Um, let's see, how do you stay on top of all of the all of the Google changes and manage your website accordingly? Yeah. Um, that's always a challenge, right? That's why people like me have full-time jobs on SEO. So one way that you could do it is, at least my preferred way is, I like to sign up for their email distribution list on like search engine marketing or search engine land or just top places like that, because it's it at least lets you know about algorithm changes and what people think might be happening. So this is a good site, searchengineland.com. It'll give you a lot of information on SEO. It is a little overwhelming though, and it's definitely writing for people like me that are in this day in and day out, so it make it a little bit overwhelming, but I do recommend that you check this site out. Of course, I'm going to plug us in here. Subscribe to our blog or check out our blog or subscribe to us on social media. You'll see all of the latest updates, not just on SEO, but social media and PPC as well. And then another way to do it, I would start tracking your information through what's it, Google Search Console. Google Search Console, if you already have Google Analytics implemented onto your website, you can automatically add Google Search Console. And that is another Google application that helps you understand your rankings and organic results specifically. So if you see something funny happening with one of your metrics where it just looks completely different one day to the other, chances are either something happened with some content optimization or something with your website, or there was an algorithm update, so you can start investigating what may have happened, go back to resources like this, and you will likely see chatter about something happening in the SEO world. So that's one way that you could approach it. If you're very active on social media, I would do just follow these types of people on social media, and you'll just start receiving a lot of news. Okay. Okay, I think. Oh, when is the second webinar? I actually don't have the date yet. But if you sign up for this one, it's very likely that you'll get communications for the second one. So just be on the lookout on your inbox so that you can register. And then you'll likely see the invitation on our social media as well. So if you follow us on like Facebook or Twitter or anything, then you'll likely be able to register through there too. I just don't have the exact date yet. I believe it's going to be sometime in August, but not quite sure yet. Okay. All right, we have any other? I see a lot of you would like the white paper. Okay, let me just make sure there are no other questions. Okay, just to reiterate, in case you guys missed it, you will be receiving this presentation and recording. So just wait a couple of business days and you'll see it in your inbox. Until then, thank you. For those of you that are requesting the white paper, if just hang on for a couple of minutes, I'll be going through in the next 2 minutes or so and sending you guys the link directly. Otherwise, thank you so much and have a great afternoon.